I'm here, I've been here so many times for so many different events because it's part of the district that I represent. The last few times I've been here because of rallies, Black Lives Matter rally, and of course before that we've done jazz and everything else. Today, though, we are looking at the state of our community. We're looking at the state of our nation, and we are looking at those who have lost their lives to gun violence, and we are saying enough is enough. Isn't that what we're saying? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I think what AJ said is true. You know, however, as a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a daughter, a legislator, I can do to make sure that we keep our children safe, our families safe, and that we stop this constant flood of violence. Violence amongst, people who are in our own communities, violence with the police, wherever it is, stop it. And I'm here with so many of my friends. Obviously, Moms Demand Action. We're, rallying all over all the time. Thank you for your advocacy. We were able, in the state legislature, to do some good work in terms of guns. And, we did the extreme risk protection order so that you can get guns out of the hands of people who should not have guns. We have a comprehensive background check. We banned bump stops. We said you can't arm teachers when they were talking about letting teachers be armed. You can't do that. And even in terms of legislative priorities that had money, I brought SNUG into Westchester the first time. SNUG, by the way, is gun spelled backwards.
Yes, you did.
And what that did was take kids and people who had been involved in the criminal justice system and allow them to be violence interrupters. And of course, we've mourned with the families like the Nolan family, who have, fought so hard for justice and stood over and over again. So I'm here to say to the families, we are sorry, and our thoughts and our prayers are there. But I know and thoughts and prayers are not enough. We've got to drop this gun culture. We've got to invest in our children. We've got to invest in communities. We've got to make sensible laws. And I would not be me if I didn't say, vote like our lives depend on it. Vote. Vote. The people who you put in office make the laws that make the difference, and depending upon who's sending them there it is the result of what you actually get. So this is our moment once again, and we will continue to work together and to really hopefully stop this senseless gun violence. Thank you so much, AJ. I see my county legislator, Mary Jane Chemsky, is here as well. I wanted to shout her out. She represents this district. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jane and Black Westchester. They're always doing something. There's always, and I thank you, because there's not enough outlets for a lot of different voices. The fact that you have Black Westchester, you got the publication, you got the station, it gets a lot of information out. So thank you. Thanks for what you do.
Mary Jane Chemsky, County Legislator.
Thank you so much. The majority leader of the state Senate basically said it all. We're sorry, and we're trying to do everything we can to make things better. But we know that gun culture and a culture of physically acting out instead of using one's words, and instead of trying to understand where the folks on the other side are coming from. If your first impulse is to buy a gun, eventually it's going to be used. Whether you use it, whether your toddler uses it, whether somebody steals it out of your house and uses it. It's a very dangerous power to have. And there's nothing we can say to make it better for the people who have lost loved ones to gun violence. But the only thing we can do as we forge ahead is to make sure that as few people as possible lose their lives to gun violence in the future. And you certainly have the words of the state Senate, the state assembly, the county board of legislators, Elfrida Williams, who I think actually does represent the ground under my feet. I just represent the area a little bit over that way. But we all care, and we all want to make sure we do whatever we can to make sure that we can do something to stop the culture of violence and the culture of guns in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. And without further ado, a man that needs no introduction, Mr. Kenneth Chamberlain Jr.
Get off. You heard that, Senator? I don't know. But good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. I'm one of the founders of the Westchester Coalition for Police Reform. This coalition was founded in 2012 after the killing of my father, Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., at the hands of members of the White Plains Police Department. I am also one of the co-founders of the Westchester Black Political Conference. I was asked to come here today and speak because we are always talking about extrajudicial killings and summary executions at the hands of law enforcement. And any time that happens, we're outraged. We march, we yell, we protest, we're screaming no justice, no peace, and that Black Lives Matter. But in order for that to matter, in order to hold law enforcement and our elected officials accountable, we have to hold ourselves accountable. And we do that by dealing with the issues that are affecting our communities directly. In particular, black on black crime. Now, one thing that I will tell you, and I wrote this down, and it came from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. And it said offenders are white in 62% of violent crimes against whites. And offenders are black in 72% of violent crimes against blacks. What is the difference? One is sensationalized more than the other. So I think that that's very important, because I'm not saying that to justify anything, but if we are truly going to change anything, we have to be educated and we have to speak factually, okay? And when we come up here, something that I always try to do anytime I speak is make it a teachable moment, because I need people to understand why we're out here fighting. So as my brother AJ said, if black lives are going to matter, then they have to matter all the time. And they can't just matter when a police officer is killing us. It has to matter when we see it happening, you know, in our own communities. And that's how we affect change. We have to begin to police our own communities.
That's right.
So one of the ways that we do that is, and this goes to not just community or faith-based leadership, I'm also talking about that street leadership, and they know who they are. They have the ability to stop certain things that's happening out there in the streets. So I appeal to them as well. Get out there. You see someone doing something or making some impulsive move that's gonna cost them their life as well as the life of someone else, we have to intervene. We have to talk to this younger generation. And that is one of the things that I always talk about, that we drop the ball on as adults now. So I just came out here to let these families, these mothers know, fathers know, uncles and aunts, that I stand in solidarity with you. My fight is a different fight, but it's still gun violence. So I'm standing with you, and thank you for having me say a few words, and God bless you families, and I'm here if you need me. Thank you.
We're going to keep this going. Next speaker is Nasene Duncan. Nasene Duncan, here she goes. And I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Y'all tricked me. I didn't know I was supposed to be speaking. You have to. First of all, let's all be safe. Hello, everyone. My name is Nasene Duncan. I'm from Mount Vernon. I didn't prepare for this, so anything that's coming is coming from within me. My son in 2011 was murdered. He was shot 14 times on 2nd Avenue in Mount Vernon. I'm better today than I was yesterday, and I'm better today than I was a year ago and before that. I'm still fighting for justice for my son, and day after day I have to walk the streets not knowing that the person that I may look to the left, did you murder my child? Did you murder my child? Are you the cousin? And it causes me to be paranoid. I am currently suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, severe anxiety, and depression. I have a lot of support. Damon, Moms Demand Action. I have a host of support. Cynthia Jones, AJ, Black Westchester, and family and friends. It's hard to deal with, and it's hard to see consistently happening in front of you. It hurts when I have to turn on the news, and all I'm seeing is another shooting. I can't even watch shows that show shootings. I can't watch stuff like that, so I became a Food Network person. We have to educate our children and be there more to let them know that you are killing each other for what? My son is dead. What did you gain? You didn't gain anything. You gained an S on your chest. And the reason why I'm consistently fighting and rallying for justice for my son is because I don't want the person that did that to my son to do it to somebody else. Because if you don't take him off the streets, because they say when you kill, it's easier to kill again. And I don't want nobody to feel what I'm feeling. Insomnia, paranoia. No mother, no father, no cousin, nobody should feel this pain. And a lot of people say, I do not understand what it feels like. I'm gonna tell you what it feels like as a mother. As a mother, where that child came from is where it hurts the most. It's like they ripped your gut out. And you do not get over that. I will never get over that. I got 2 surviving children and I smother them now. Where are you going? They're 30. And I feel bad, but I feel like I can't lose another child. I will not be able to survive this. I didn't think I could survive this. But through the graces of God and my higher power and praying and having faith that this is going to be justified is what gets me going every day. But every day is a new day for me. Every day I wake up is a new day. It's a new day that Nasene, you gotta get up, you gotta face the music, stay strong. But if I didn't have the support that I have, I wouldn't be able to do it. I would not be able to do it. And like I said, I'm stronger today, but I'm going to continue to fight. Justice for Junior. I will not stop fighting until that person is behind bars. And no other mother has to feel what I'm feeling. Ever, ever, ever. No mother, no father. My son's father is the same way. Men got their moments as well. They hurt too. And he's torn. And what we do to each other is, I'll call him and I'm in a high place and I'll bring him down. Or he'll call me and I'm like, I'm not answering, I can't do this right now. And then I feel bad. You go through so many emotions when you lose a child. So many, and he has a daughter. She was 3 when this happened. She's 7 now. And her mother is starting to, she's young, but she's starting to, what do I do? She's asking questions. She's asking why. Why did they do that? She's like, and she don't know what to tell her now. We talk and she knows of her father a lot. But now it's like the older she gets, I try to run from it. I'm not picture ready. I don't look at pictures of my son. I can't. More or less you show me a video, I can't. I'm not there. I'm working my way there, and I feel like I'm doing way better because I couldn't talk. I teared up just now, but I did not cry. And that's a step forward for me. It's a step forward. So I try to tell you young people, tell your friends, the gun is not the answer. To me, it's a punk move. It's a punk move. Because back when I was coming up, you fought with your 2 hands and it was done. But egos stepped into play. Egos stepped into play. And when egos stepped into play, these people feel like, nah, they feel shame, so they're gonna go get their gun. And do what? If you own a gun, yes, you got some people that own it for their, purposes of safety. Those are the guns that's out there being bought for a couple of $100 and taking somebody's life and ruining my life. And I feel bad for the person who did this to my son. I feel bad. Because when you get caught, your parents now lost you. They lost you. So we both lost. Because somebody loves you too. But somebody seriously dropped the ball. That if you can take, and they shot my son 14 times. I don't know too much about guns and how many be in a clip, but that means you had to be there going bang, 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 and you would not stop. And I'm gonna tell you young people, because I know people's in these parks and they're doing just regular stuff. See something, say something. Because when you don't say something, you're a part of the problem. And it could be your brother next, your sister next, it could be anyone. See something, say something. That no snitch shit, it's out the window. It's out the window. That it's gone. And I know a lot of people don't care. Some people care about their lives. And Tekashi 6ix9ine said, I don't give a shit. I got a daughter. I'm telling on your ass. And that's what he did. You know what I'm saying? Because he cared about his daughter. I can either be away and come out and my daughter's 20 or 30, or I can raise my child. You think those people care about him when he was in jail? Did they care about his daughter? No way. But just like I said, I'm hoping and I'm praying, and I put up a post the other day because seeing that Jam Master Jay, they got his murderer so many years later, his family didn't give up, and they said that lawyer didn't give up. And that gave me hope that no matter how long it takes, no matter how I gotta fight, I'm gonna keep fighting and keeping faith. Y'all have a nice day.
Our next speaker is Dave Clark.
Hello everybody, my name's Dave Clark. I'm also from Mount Vernon, and I also currently work as a detective at the Mount Vernon Police Department. Today, for my family, is a tough day because it's actually the anniversary of my brother's homicide. He was killed August 20th, 2000, and today is August 20th, 2020, and ultimately it's the 20-year anniversary. Waking up today, you know, definitely it's always bittersweet, but over the years, you know, the love from the community and stuff from my family helped. My situation is totally different, so I understand how Nasene just now felt, because my family was actually able to get closure. My brother's homicide was closed in about 7 hours, fortunately. But that was because of all of the stuff Nasene was talking about that needs to happen in communities happened for my brother's homicide. People came forward and the community pulled together. And it wasn't an easy road because, you know, a homicide is not like the show Law and Order. It's not over in an hour. That's a bunch of years you're going back and forth to court for trial and your family reliving the nightmare. So the only message that I could say is for the young people, Kenny touched on it earlier, us as adults, we have to start stepping in and we have to stop turning a blind eye to our kids that are out here. It's apparent and it's evident that they don't have de-escalation skills. The same way that we have the same energy that the police need de-escalation, our communities, we need it too. We need it because small problems become big problems rapidly. I see it every single day, and the young people making these choices, they don't understand that the choices that they're making are major consequences for families and then ultimately for themselves. I think the toughest part of today was News 12 came and interviewed my mother and my father and myself. And today was the first time my mother ever spoke. And hearing her and how she felt about where she's at and why she's at peace with what happened to my brother, you know, that was probably the most painful thing of the day today. So I'm a very, very, very big advocate in ending gun violence. I'm always in the forefront. I'm an advocate for the youth. I need more police officers to, I don't want you to be like me, but you gotta step in as well. We gotta get out of these cars. We gotta start meeting the people. We gotta get to know the people on a first name basis, last name basis, and vice versa. The community policing is very, very important. And then on the flip side, being from the same town, as the community, we gotta start knowing who we live with in our neighborhoods. It's not like when I grew up and you actually knew everybody. People live in apartment buildings and don't even know their neighbors. They don't even speak. You know, we have to change socially. So it's not just a police thing, it's a community thing, it's a us thing, it's a we thing. We all have to be in it together. I thank you for the opportunity, Damon and AJ, for being able to come out and speak. In Mount Vernon, if anyone here wants to come down at 8:30 at Hartley Park, we're actually doing a candlelight vigil for all of the people that we lost to gun violence, and also because of the year 2020, all the people that we lost to COVID. So if you have time, stop, buy a candle, come to Hartley Park in Mount Vernon. We'll take a moment of silence, light a candle for our family members, and I just thank you guys for allowing me this time.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. I think I've seen County Legislator Damien Mara. Would you like to come up and say a couple of words real quick?
Thank you. It's my privilege to be with the families here to recognize those who have passed. And as somebody now in government, I think the best way we can honor them and their legacy can be both to the deceased and those who survived, that we do something about it. And we have to dismantle the gun culture. We have to stop from the highest level of government. We have to have federal laws to stop gun trafficking between the states. That's the only way we're going to get things done on a big basis. On a small thing that we did in the county, just a couple of miles down the road in the county center, we took out the gun shows. I mean, that was the immediate reason why, for the first time in my life, 61 years old, I went as a private citizen at that time. I went to the county office building and was a citizen to be heard before the Board of Legislators. And that was sometime before I even decided that I was going to run. And the reason I did run, in large part, was because I found out I was being represented by a person who thought the gun show and thousands of guns and all the really macho kind of feeling behind it was a good thing. So we can't have that anymore. We have to work at all levels of government to stop that. And secondly, as folks are alluding to, it's more than just getting the guns out. It's more than police reform, which is good. But it's more allocation of our resources. You know, when we have budget time coming around, various governments, be there, speak your piece. Say less on locking people up and more on envisioning a better future where we don't have to do this, where we can now invest more in housing, in health, in education, and employment opportunities. And if we don't do that, if your public officials are not doing that, you have the right to vote them out. So hold us all accountable, both short-term in trying to solve gun violence on a case-by-case basis and keeping the guns out, but make us work hard to build a better society where people don't feel they need to express themselves in a violent manner. And so, thank you again for letting me speak. And good evening.
We're going to keep it moving. Our next speaker is Jesse Van Loo from Save Mount Vernon. Is he in the house?
Yeah.
Jesse.
Good evening, everybody. Jesse Van Loo from Save Mount Vernon. See this shirt? Save Mount Vernon. Put your guns on the ground. For the families that have lost loved ones, my condolences, my prayers. But what I'm gonna do right now is keep it real and try to not get emotional. For the young men that's out here killing themselves, they know what they're doing. My question to you is, where are the young black men fathers? Step up, be a father, encourage your son to do something with his life instead of loading that damn gun every night. We had a shooting last night in Mount Vernon, 4 square miles. This is what's going on. It hasn't stopped. It'll continue to stop. It won't stop unless we get involved. I lost no loved ones. I know people that did. Nas, my condolences. Dave, my condolences. Donna, my condolences. I'm here because I want to be here. Guns have no place in our society. It's an evil. It's a wrong. I'm asking the guys in Mount Vernon, put your boots on the ground with me and walk with me. Educate these young men to let them know life means more to them than pulling the trigger. You got 2 places, jail or dead. And the way it's going, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to me and anybody else. Save Mount Vernon, dealing with unsolved murders. 4 square miles again with the murder rate that's going on. Detective Clark became a cop because of his brother. Where do we go from here? Education, police reform, bail reform, it's all on the table. Something has to change. I've changed. I'm involved. I'm asking other men to be involved. You got so many men in Mount Vernon that's standing around. Go to work, get paid, go home and sit on their ass. So my email's jessevanloo@gmail.com. Reach out to me. Ask me what can I do to help improve the quality of life. The quality of these young brothers standing on the corner doing nothing with their lives. There's no way to show your children how to be. There's no way. You drive by, rolling dice, smoking blunts. So what do they have to see? When they walk to the store, that's what they see. My father on the corner doing the same damn thing. What's next? Those guns have a place to sleep. They're not in the bushes. Parents, talk to your sons. You know who they're hanging with. You know where they're going. Feel them. They got friends that you don't feel right. Talk to them. You gotta separate. We have to step up. I'm there for you. I don't wear my boots today, but they'll be on tomorrow. I have a lot to say, but other speakers are gonna speak, but I'm asking y'all, the fellas in Mount Vernon, the parents, step up, be involved with your kids' lives. We know the age group between 17 and 24, black, shooting each other. And we don't matter to ourselves, who we gonna matter to? I'm reaching out. I'm here for you. Your son got a problem? Reach out to me. Snug is not here, they're busy right now. We'll reach out to them as well. We'll separate. We'll sit at the table. We'll talk about it. You gotta put the guns down. I'm here for you. Save Mount Vernon. We're gonna keep it real. And I held back today. Trust me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, my brother. We're gonna keep it moving. Next we have the Nolan family. Donna and James Nolan.
AJ, Damon, from the bottom of my heart from day one, you guys have been tremendous supporters. Nas, I feel it. In 2014, when Michael got drafted to the Oakland A's, I was beyond ecstatic. I said, this is it. His hard work paid off. He's going. And I watched him get on the plane like I did all the time when he'd leave for college, thinking, it's gonna be the hardest thing I gotta do is I gotta be without my son for the next couple of months. Never thinking a year later that I would have to say to myself, how the hell am I gonna do this every single day knowing this kid is not walking through that door? He's never coming home, and it sucks. I miss him. I'm going on 5 years, and yet I feel like it was yesterday. Yes, there was an arrest. There was 4 of them. What does that mean? Does that mean Michael comes home? No, he never walks through that door again. He never gets to get married. He never gets to have kids. He never gets anything. I am not trying to take away the rights of responsible gun owners. That's your business. Protect your family, your business, whatever it is. But the illegal guns, they can have all the bills they want. They can sign their name from here to Albany about all the laws they want and what they're going to do for illegal guns. But unless you follow through with it, they're just pieces of paper with their names on it, and it means nothing.
Exactly.
It means nothing, because every day you pick up that paper or you turn on the news, there's another innocent young child being taken by some punk coward with an illegal gun. It's got to stop. Whether you've been affected or not, don't ever say it won't happen to you, because you never know. Be loud, scream, yell. Yeah, we want change. We want action. We want it now. We want these politicians to know we hurt. You got to step up. We got to start doing better for our youths. It's not worth it. If you know somebody that has a gun, turn it, get it away from them, turn it in. Nothing out there, no argument, no fight is worth destroying your life and taking someone else's life. Nothing for me is ever going to be the same. I've gotten a beautiful granddaughter since then, but my life will never be the same. My heart was taken from me. Michael wasn't just my son, he was my best friend. They used to laugh when he'd be coming home from college, and they would see everything I do, and the first things that would come out of their mouths would be, oh, the king is coming home, our prince is coming. And that he was the heart of our family, and we've tried. My son Jimmy's been out there and we've bringing things to the table and working on things, but you know what? It takes more than just, this is great, but we need to get our youths. We need to stop them now. Let's not have another mother have to feel the pain, because it's horrible. Damon, AJ, Lorraine, my queen, you know that. I love you, girl, for everything, for always being there, supporting my family. I will forever be grateful. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Also, I'm Mike's older brother. I've been kind of active in the community for a while now, working with Moms Demand Action and many elected officials. I started a foundation, but I could do all the fundraisers I want, but my brother's not coming home. And that is something that will forever hurt me no matter what. Like my mother said, they're just pieces of paper on the laws, but unless we do within these laws, are not going to mean anything. We got to get it out there that, you know what, this pride thing that's happening on the streets with the shootings, that, you know what, we got to live together. We live in the same world together, and we got to get it out to them. That, you know what, so what if you have pride? So what if you don't? You want more? At the end of the day, it's not worth it. I had the chance of being brought on to the Yonkers Gun Tip Hotline, where you can buy back illegal guns in Yonkers, and it's actually now the first statewide program. It was actually signed into law the same day as the red flag law. We were up in Albany, but like I said, you know, it's a team effort. No matter where you go, just because we're from Yonkers doesn't mean we can't help Mount Vernon.
That's right.
We can't help New Rochelle, White Plains, Westchester, New York, and more. So we have to do this together, and it begins with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you guys. Yes. Yes.
We're going to keep it moving. We have Adrianapence from Moms Demand Action next.
Thank you. What an incredible night. What an incredible lineup of speakers with so much strength to share. Sorry, I need my cheat sheet. I want to take a moment to talk about another type of gun violence, gun suicide, firearm suicide. In 2017, I lost my younger brother to gun suicide. He was 30 years old. He was a brilliant, loving, incredibly talented kid, young man. But he had access to a gun, and he was struggling with depression and addiction. And I know he did not want to die, but he needed help, and he had a gun. Conversations around gun violence, as we've heard tonight, talk a lot about homicide. But suicide is important too. Almost 2/3 of gun deaths in the US are suicides, which is about 59 deaths a day. And recently, Everytown predicted that with COVID, those numbers can go up by 20 to 30%. We know that the uncertainty that's brought about by this pandemic has been impacting people's mental health. We know that with COVID-19, people are feeling anxious and depressed and overwhelmed. And we know that our communities are experiencing a disproportionate impact of both COVID and gun violence. So what we're seeing right now is almost like a perfect storm. This pandemic is exacerbating the root causes of all forms of gun violence, from lack of access to opportunity to the worst economic crisis we've seen in a long time, rising rates of unemployment, and so much more. These are the key drivers to more gun violence. It hasn't stopped because we're social distancing, and so therefore our work can't stop either. Together we have to continue doing what we're doing, and there have been so many amazing efforts that were highlighted tonight, from supporting local organizations that work on intervention, providing mental health resources, exploring bold ideas for public safety. We have to disrupt access to firearms in times of crisis, which is right now, because we know that that's proven to reduce violence. And I just want to say that I'm really honored to be here right now to listen and to bear witness to the stories of the families who have been impacted by gun violence, and to learn how we can work together and to build a better future. I'm honored to be a part of Moms Demand Action. I'm one of 6 million volunteers in this grassroots movement fighting for public safety measures that can protect people from gun violence. And I know my brother Luke who I was very close to, always told me in times of uncertainty, quote, "You're the person I look up to, sis." And so I do this work to honor him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rounding it up, we have two more speakers. We have Cynthia Turnquest Jones coming up next. Oh wait, who? Everybody, just a minute. Cynthia Turnquest Jones.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Turnquest Jones, and I have been a member of Moms Demand Action the day that it was established. Before I go on, I want you to remember this phone number, this text, if you would like to become a member of Moms Demand Action. The text is 64433. And all you have to text in there is, "I want to be a member." Moms Demand Action really opened up my eyes and Nasene Duncan's eyes, because we didn't know that the gun laws were so antiquated that it was scary. So my brother lives in Montgomery, Alabama, and he owns a business. He went in to go get a gun license. He was able to get a gun within 24 hours. He said, "That's scary because they don't even know who I am." So then you start thinking about what is really going on when individuals are purchasing guns. Who is allowed to purchase guns? How are they allowed to get on the street the way that they're on the street in places such as Chicago, in places such as Mount Vernon, in places such as Yonkers? It's because the laws are so antiquated and it's so easy for individuals to get guns. Did you know that you can give somebody a gun? Do you know that you can go and register to get a gun and then you can give it to someone as a gift? What kind of policy is that? And then the other side of it is that we have friends who are police officers. We have Detective Clark that spoke a few minutes ago, and we also have another detective that just walked in. Her name is Montika Jones. And so I know the feeling that I have when I look at the gun laws, and I could just take a guesstimation on how a police officer would feel in regards to these gun laws. But they really can't speak up about it. So we're here to speak up for them. And so we are plagued with guns on our streets. And then they feel as though that parents should go back to business as usual. They feel as though that the sister should go back to business as usual. They feel as though that the dad should go back to business as usual after their child has been murdered and taken away. That hardly ever happens. There is no business as usual when you are plagued with murder after murder after murder after murder. And so one of the things that we have to make sure that we do, we have to make sure that we start looking at these laws, and we have to go to the individuals who are in charge of changing laws and get them to change the laws. But we also have to make sure that the powers that be that in the police stations are solving the crimes. Because in Mount Vernon, our cold case load is absolutely ridiculous. It's as if someone turned their backs on us and decided to not solve any cases. And so I'm going to wrap it up by saying this. I need you to make sure that you go into your child's room and you search your child's entire room. Because first of all, it's not their room, it's your room. I need you to make sure that you know exactly what your child is doing. You don't know every single thing that they're doing, but You need to make sure that you check in on them. You need to know what kind of friends your child has. And the last but not least, if your child is going to somebody's house, you need to call their parent up and say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Do you have any guns in your house? And if you do have a gun, where do you store it? And when's the last time you've been in your child's room to see whether or not they have a gun? Thank you.
Yes. I did forget a name on here. John Morrison. Is he still here? John Morrison. The Yonkers boxing, bio boxing. Right?
John Morrison in the house. John Morrison in the house.
Good evening, everyone.
Show them what we're made out of.
Yeah. John Morrison. I run the #1 Westchester boxing team. We travel all around. Where our motto there is put down the block, learn to box. And there's a lot of different things that I do with these kids, but when we talk about accountability, I go to the parents are the first accountability. And when I talk about that, you need to be with these kids when they go to these sports. When they learn boxing, when they learn baseball, I'm watching, and there's no parents there. I got a kid that was traveling at 11 years old, by himself through the square, 9 at night. Nobody with him, no parents there. Accountability can go different ways. We also have a thing there with my kids that I say, what can you do to be a better child? We change it. Give me 3 things that you can do to be a better child. Because we always say, what can you do to be a better parent? My kids come up with 3 answers all the time. The biggest accountability that I want to talk about when we talk about the guns, we need to be ready to protest and boycott radio stations. It's promoted to us. I challenge anybody from the hours of 7 to 8, go to the black radio stations, count how many songs are played about guns. Guaranteed you'll hear 20 songs for an hour and it has the word gun in it. Who was that promoted to? Who was it promoted to? Because I listened to the other stations, you don't hear anything about the guns. So it's promoted to a certain community. And if we don't get that taken off the radio, this stuff is going to continue. It's going to continue because you have to change what they're hearing. If they're hearing it, they're going to do it. And the same thing with the lady was saying with the parents accountable. My mother always said, I know who I sent to school. I got 3 kids. If you call the house and say one's crying, one's fighting, and one cursing, I know exactly which one is doing it. That's being accountable. Knowing what your kids are doing. Yeah, search what they have in the house. My mother went through my radio, she went through my drawer. I don't own nothing there. But that's what you have to do. And if we allow, just going back to the radio, if we allow this to continue to be played every day from 8 to 9, that's what your kids are listening to. Shoot, 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 shoot. I carry a Glock. I carry a 9. That's all they hear. What do you think they're gonna do? Why should they change? But here's the sad part. How many kids carry guns that don't want to carry guns? You never thought about that. I had a guy tell me that. He said, I carry a gun, coach, and I don't want to carry it. But I carry it because I don't know what's gonna happen outside. He's so scared of us that he carries it for his own protection of the kids that live right next door to him. So we're doing that kid a disservice that he has to carry a gun because we won't do anything about that. We won't get out there and say, hey, let's stay here, make sure these kids are protected. It don't take a lot to go outside. Hey, let's get a game of kickball. I don't see no parents out there saying, there's a lot of games we used to play when we were younger. I took the kids from my block, from another block, got a kickball game. It's a simple game, kick the ball. Do you know how many 10, 11-year-olds had fun doing that? That was boys and girls. But if you don't show them anything else, that's all they know. They won't know anything else. The last thing I want to say is, I wear the Colin Kaepernick shirt, and a lot of people don't understand it. Colin Kaepernick, the reason they were mad is because he never said anything else. People say, why he's not talking no more? Why don't he say something? He just said one thing, he won't talk no more. because he knew if I continue to talk, they'll change my words. So I feel that when we do nonviolence, marching, we should also do it in silence. Pick 3 speakers. Everybody else be quiet. Have your signs. They know sign language. Let them read what's going on. That also cuts down people getting hyped. And they say, oh, here's the losers. Well, if we're quiet, and there's 3 speakers, and everybody else is silent, that's called nonviolence, silent. All we do is sit there, be quiet. Let the 3 speakers speak. Nobody gets hyped. See, when you get hyped, that's when things happen. But if everybody's quiet, you can see what's going on. You can see who's acting up. So that would be something we can do. And that's all I have to say for today. Thank you.
And our last speaker needs no introduction, the one and only Damien K. Jones.
Good evening, good evening. I want to thank all the speakers who spoke tonight. I want to thank all the supporters who sponsored this event. Talking about crime and violence in communities, especially in communities of color, is very dear to my heart. I've been in law enforcement for 30 years. I've been working at the Westchester County Jail for 30 years. And I have watched 3 generations of youth come through those doors. And let me tell you, when they get into these illegal gun situations and they come to jail, they're hit with a reality that they never thought would hit them before. Because there's no babying in jail. There's a lot of danger in jail. And you're talking some kids, you know, at the time, before they took the minors out of the county jail, right? You're talking 16, 17, 18 and up, locked up, max security, telling when to do this and telling them to do that. And basically, jail is not a life for any young person, and especially because they was raised in conditions. So if we're going to talk about stopping crime and violence and keeping guns out of the community, we must address poverty. We must address poverty because poverty is the core of crime and violence. And then when you have crime and violence, it leads to getting equipment that we call illegal guns. Now, when Governor Cuomo pushed forth the gun laws, a group of us, black law enforcement organizations, Latino organizations, went up to the governor's legal team. We agreed with it, but we had one problem, is that they didn't increase the time for the gun trafficker. The young person on the street, and studies have proved sometimes they get illegal guns because they don't feel safe on the street, and that falls on the adults. So when young people have to get illegal guns because everybody else got a gun, because they don't feel safe, that's our fault as adults. But we also have to push, and hopefully after November, we could get back to addressing down in Washington and get Washington working and really address stiffening the gun laws on gun traffickers. I was talking to my cousin Dave. He lives in Atlanta. And I was telling him about the rally. He says, oh man, I could get a gun down here for $300 and sell it in New York for $15 easy. That's my cousin. And he's saying how easy it is to buy a gun in Atlanta and bring it in New York and sell it. So we understand that. So we have to address it. And we need people like the people that spoke here, and we need to get the community involved. And we need to reach out to black men. They got to stand up in their community. They got to take back their community. They have to talk to the children. We have to talk to our children. We can't say all the children are crazy. The children are crazy because we crazy. We got to stop fighting each other. You can't solve the gang violence when we're acting as gangs ourselves as adults. And we can't get along as adults. So I hope we can talk about reinvesting in the community. We can talk about getting our school systems right. We can talk about bringing generational wealth back into the poor communities so they don't want to have to rob and steal to survive. I've seen people just come to jail because they just want to eat. They don't have no place to stay. They're homeless. And all this is all the ingredients for crime and violence and why people want to get illegal guns. It's all connected. So we have to address it like it's all connected. We just can't put the guns over here and put poverty over here and put crime and violence over here. No, it's all connected. Because I am tired of seeing young black men and young black girls come to jail for social problems, that we didn't address social problems, now they became criminal justice problems. We have to change that. We have to change that, and it starts with us. It starts with us taking the community back. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank you for being you, because without you, there's no Black Westchester. Without you, your support, me and AJ would not be able to do the great works that we're doing. And we thank you for it. Everybody have a nice night.
Thank you everybody for coming out, greatly appreciated. Get your copy of the 3-year anniversary of Black Westchester if you didn't. As the editor, I've covered all these stories. And I've heard from the families, and I'm glad that they got here to tell you their stories. Gun violence has hit the Black Westchester family as well. My partner, Dr. Bob Baskerville, and Lorraine Lopez, who was taking pictures, both have lost 2 brothers each to senseless gun violence. Bob in Mount Vernon and Lorraine in Yonkers. So it's hit us. So that's why we wanted to do this. Y'all could be doing anything else, but y'all decided to come through here. We greatly appreciate it. Everybody get home safe. Good night.
construction job. That I didn't know.